Before we get on any of these fun routes, we need to improve our performance. Essentially pull a lever that's going to increase our muscle activation so we can do powerful moves. It's going to make us more mobile so we can get into those strange body positions we need to be in. Plus, it's going to help prevent injury. We all need that, trust me. To do this though, we need to do something before we start climbing, every single session. So let's take off our climbing shoes. We're gonna put on a jacket and some tennis shoes and get started. For the trigger to work though, we need to have oxygenated, really healthy blood pumping through our system. Best way to do that is to get our heart rate pumping. We can do that with running, maybe some jumping jacks and jump rope. Once we get our heart pumping, there are 3 actions we need to take to fully pull the trigger. So let's go through each of those steps one by one to make sure that our tendons are going to function as best as possible. So we want to lubricate them. There's a couple different ways of doing that, but one of the most commonly recommended ways is to actually get the motions of all of your joints, start moving them in all the different directions. You may have heard people doing arm flings. The reason why I'm doing it more slow and deliberate is because I want to focus on the full movement of the shoulder blade. To spend a few minutes doing this before moving on to the wrists, which this is a fun one. A lot of people don't understand and they just think they're twisting my wrists. I'm actually keeping my forearms up and I'm just moving the wrists. It's kind of hard, especially if this is your first time doing it. So do it in all the directions and then let's move on to fingers, which there's a couple different ways to do this. I like this one. Also spend some time flicking. I'm actually flicking. I'm not just moving my fingers. I'm like pushing as hard as I can in all the different directions. Okay, and then there's also this one, which is what I was doing, but I'm engaging my shoulders now so I can just get a little bit more blood flow to each of the tendons. Let's move down our body, get into our hips a little bit. I'm gonna need a balance for this one. There's a couple different ways to do this. Like when I was playing soccer, I used to do hip swings. It's a good start, but actually want you to move your hip in every direction that it's capable of doing. And you do this on both legs. So what I'm doing is I'm going up as high as I can here. If you're more mobile, maybe you can do that better than I can. And then you turn your hip forward, out, back, all the way around. And I'm actually trying to touch my opposite shoulder with that foot. I'm back down and then repeat. This will get your tendons feeling really good. Sorry, I missed the ankles. Let's do the ankles real fast. This will get your tendons going really quick. And notice how I'm still wearing a jacket? That's because I'm still trying to keep my body warm, my muscles warm, so the blood flow continues during this part of the process. Now let's go into step 2. If you skip this step, it's likely that you'll shock your muscles. You won't be able to have near as much muscle engagement, so do not skip this step. We're gonna start with basic squats. We're gonna do some push-ups and things like that to get our muscles going, okay? Because what we want to do is start activating those muscles before we start climbing. So think about everything that you use in climbing, and I'm actually gonna go over to the bar. We're gonna look at a couple of pulling motions. If you cannot reach a bar and you can't do pull-ups on your own, pull up a box or something like that that you can stand on. Oh, this is greasy. Love that, okay. And if you can't do a pull-up, let's just do a couple of hangs. I'm actually wrapping my fingers around, so not doing the thumb around, I'm doing the thumb on top. We're just gonna hang. Try and keep your scapula. Now let me show you. If you can even see. Try not to be like this, try to be more like this. So you can see the difference with me pulling my shoulders down, okay? If you can do some pull-ups, then do some pull-ups or just hold it in place. Just hold your body up as much as you can. You're gonna do this for quite a while until you're feeling like your muscles, you should start feeling your muscles. That's a good indication that you fully activated them. But this is not the last step. Step number 3 is crucial if you want to get the full benefit of this trigger. Let's go dig into that. This last step helps boost your physical performance, but maybe more important than that is what it does to your headspace. If you skip this step, it's likely that you'll have less confidence, you'll make mistakes with your decisions. And so we want to do this in order to feel like we're swimming downstream instead of upstream. The first thing I want you to do is find some holds that you can traverse across. There's some routes in gyms will actually be traversing routes, so you can use those like this one. But if they don't have one, just make one up. That works too. And I want you to traverse back and forth for a couple of minutes. Then we're gonna do a route where we're doing quiet feet, so try to be super soft on your feet. And remember with this one, you don't wanna raise your hands to bring your feet up, you wanna raise your feet to bring your feet up. And then we're gonna combine all those with quiet feet and glue hands. So once you touch the hold, you can't readjust. None of this, just one touch, and that's it. About 15 minutes of this and you'll be ready to start your climbing session. But unfortunately, a lot of climbers make these minor mistakes throughout their climbing that makes it so that they can't climb nearly as hard. So go watch this video next to make sure you're not making the same mistakes.